Tyrell Pigram. Well, I think we got a little bit of music playing here. Hope you guys can hear me all right. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. We'll see if we can straighten this one out here. See where it's coming from. Incredibly distracting. Got music playing in my ear, but we'll see if we can get it straightened out here. Hope that's. Oh yeah, I see what's happening. Got some technical difficulties here. Gonna take the monitors out of the ears. Hey, Tyrell Pigram, he electrified everybody inside the Madhouse on Matheson tonight. Man, oh man, he really opened some eyes. He did some impressive things. And, he really, I think, solidified his spot on this Winnipeg Blue Bombers team. Well, he's already here. I wanted to start early, but I wanted to also get things straightened out. Let's bring him in right now to Game Day After Dark to form the dynamic duo. Well, I won't even say that. He's just dynamic on his own. Zach Schnitzer. Don't move, Zach. I'm going to fix your camera from afar, but good to see you, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, it was at the Madhouse on Matheson with 24,000 plus fans cheering for the blue and gold DB. So it was a good night, buddy. It was a good night. I mean, it's preseason, so whatever. But my bonfire burning point is who cares? Because anyway, it's preseason. So there was that. It makes it muted a little bit, my excitement. But hey, how about Piggy T, buddy?
No kidding, right?
How about Piggy T? How electric is this guy? He has it. Some guys just have an it factor, and I think he has an it factor.
He's got something all right. I fixed the technical glitch.
Okay.
So I think we're straight now, but let's do this. Let's bring in the live stats, and we'll see if I can even zoom in on Tyrell Pigram. 5 of 6, 65 yards, had the touchdown on a nice over-the-shoulder fade route to Amari Jones. Just to let everybody out there know, we're going to get into so much here on Game Day After Dark. Zach and I are going to have our assessments. We'll hand out our game balls and the Happy Honker and Walby's Warrior and the rest for the preseason. We'll do that. We're going to talk about Tyrell Pigram. We're going to give you information on Kenny Lawler as more reporting has emerged. And Mike O'Shea even had some comments on the radio broadcast following the game. So we'll share all of that with you. I'm going to give you a list of guys that I think will make the team. Zach and I will get into a lot of the position battles, but just looking at the numbers, and I'm not talking about Tyrell Pigram. I'm talking about everybody out there watching live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Hit the comments, join the Firestarter crew, and be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe as well. And we will get you in on the conversation. What did you see in Tyrell Pigram, Zach?
Well, it's a preseason game, right, Darrin? And so it's the first half was a little bit boring. Drew Brown, didn't inspire much. And I know you and me were texting, right? Like he didn't have a starting O-line. He was arguably playing against the Saskatchewan starting defense. And they have a fearsome D-line with Lanier there and Robertson. So, I mean, I get it that he was running for his life, but he also decided
We'll get into Drew Brown later.
Yeah,
okay?
I know.
But like, to your point, I'll lay it out like this. Tyrell Pigram may have made the team tonight, but he didn't steal anybody's job. He's not going to be the number 2. We will dissect more later, but I want to know from your perch in the stands amongst the blue and gold fans, Zach Schnitzer, what did you see from him tonight?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. Like, I'm just saying, Pigram jumped off the page, especially because Drew Brown didn't do anything too exciting. And I'm not saying that's on Drew Brown. So the crowd was kind of looking for a little bit of a spark. And some guys just have the it factor. Kalaris has it. And I think a guy like Piggy T has it. He got everyone out of their seats again. Last week it was against Edmonton with that 45, 46-yard run and that 34-yard pass on 2nd and 27 got people out of their seats who were watching on the stream, and people were getting out of their seats with Piggy. You could hear when he went in, I could hear people saying Piggy's playing, Pig. I heard a couple Piggy T's
Yeah.
in my section 128. There was a buzz going on when Piggy came in, and he rewarded that excitement with some really dynamic playing, whether he was shifty as hell running the ball,
Yeah.
whether he has an arm. He threw the sole touchdown pass for the Bombers of the day. And I also noticed that he opened up the running game for Salima, because
Mhm.
you have to have a spy on him. You have to respect the running quarterback. And so it opens up the run game. So I thought he was super exciting, Darren.
Yeah. Uh, I think everybody should enjoy themselves when they go to a football game. They should enjoy themselves when they're watching or listening to a football game and something like tonight happens, where a young guy that nobody knows too much about is playing the most important position on the field, like Tyrell Pigram does, and he electrifies a crowd, electrifies a fan base, does some things, makes some guys miss, throws a nice fade route, operates the offense. But let's remember, this is the preseason. This is his second pro game. And yes, he's looked good in both of Winnipeg's preseason games, in Edmonton last week, against the Riders at home tonight. But do you remember watching Chris Streveler for the New
Yeah.
York Jets? Did he steal anybody's job? No. Is this exactly the same situation? No, absolutely not. But temper expectations. Okay. That's all I'm saying from my perch in the press box, Zach. Your perch in the stands with the fans, the enjoyment. I would be there right with you if I wasn't a reporter and if my job wasn't to call a spade and look at things a little bit more objectively. Okay. All I'm saying is fans out there need to temper their expectations. Understand that Drew Brown was running for his life tonight. You can't just put his play in a vacuum, compare it to Tyrell Pigram, and say, well, he's better than Drew Brown. Drew Brown won a game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 12 months ago when Zach Collaros was forced from the game
Right.
and entered concussion protocol. He went in there and orchestrated the second half of a scoring drive that helped them beat the Ottawa Red Blacks early in the season. What was that, game one, game two? I think it was game
Game
one.
one. It was
Yeah.
game one. The concussion spotters pulled out Zach, and Brown went 3 for 3 for like 51 yards and
Yeah.
set them up on a game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's just important to temper the expectation on a guy like Tyrell Pigram, who probably locked in a job, but is young, is inexperienced. He's showing a lot of good things. Hey, like, this is where you say, great job, Kyle Walters. Great job, Buck Pierce. Great job, Danny McManus and Ted Gavaya, finding this guy in Towson State in NCAA Division II football. Time at Maryland before that. And I want to even pull up Tyrell Pigram's college numbers, because he is the story tonight. No doubt about that, Zach Schnitzer. But here is Tyrell Pigram's numbers through the years: Maryland, Western Kentucky, and then Towson. They don't play a ton of games in college football, but, he's a sub 60% passer, and he is a sub 4 yards per carry rusher. Okay. This is when he is manning the offense the entire time. Now, of course, like I was saying about Drew Brown, you can't put numbers in a vacuum or a player in a vacuum and say, this is who they are. The offensive play calling, the talent around Tyrell Pigram in college, the talent around Tyrell Pigram in the pros, system, opponent, who they're playing against, the situation, the weather, so many things. But Tyrell Pigram, like, he's got a little something.
Yeah.
He's responsible with the football. He clearly understands the Winnipeg Blue Bombers system. And I think for Winnipeg, this is a very, very positive indication that they're on the right track in the way that they scout, in the way that they assess talent, in the way that they bring guys in with the right mentality, character, and approach to professional football. That, it takes a lot to be a good pro. And for Tyrell Pigram, he's got time ahead of him where he's got to learn. We talked about it on Bonfire midweek here on the YouTube channel and on podcast. Get in there and hit subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Find us on your podcast app as well, by the way. But we talked about it, how, you got to learn down and distance. You got to learn situational football. You got to learn deeper into the playbook. Things are pared down in the preseason. It's going to take Tyrell Pigram a little bit of time, is my opinion. It'll take him a little bit of time to get comfortable and settle in and get accustomed to professional football. If the Bombers are in a pinch, no doubt he's going to come in and hopefully he can do some exciting things. But this is Zach Collaros' team. Drew Brown will be the number 2 quarterback in 2023. Things can change, but I am fully confident that Drew Brown is the number 2 quarterback. That's not just like, oh, I really like Drew Brown. That's my opinion. Zach, you know how high I am on Drew Brown.
You are high on some Brown. Yeah,
I am high on some Drew Brown, but that's the reality of professional football. You're not going to grab a guy from college, bring him up, teach him a different game in 3 weeks and expect him to be the number 2 and win you football games in relief or spot starting and that sort of thing. Tyrell Pigram's going to learn this year and then develop like Drew Brown has over the last couple of years and hopefully become a good quarterback. Rant over. So.
What's that?
Rant over.
Rant over. No, I hear you. I just think Piggy T is really exciting, and I really look like. 100%. I guess the other thing we can get to later is Josh Jones. The poor guy only got about 6 minutes of action. Kind of the plays sort of dictated that.
He went 3 of 4.
He went 3 of 4, but he didn't do any. Like it wasn't really his fault. He had no time compared to Piggy, but he didn't do anything that's going to say he's going to supplant Piggy. I think it was Piggy's job to lose. I think you would even said that, Darrin, in midweek. And I can't imagine that Josh Jones is in these parts by this time tomorrow or the next few days.
I will just interject and say there is always the possibility that Drew Brown, Tyrell Pigram, they're 2 and 3 on the active roster. And Josh Jones, if Buck Pierce likes what he sees, if Mike O'Shea or whoever on the staff likes what they see,
practice roster spot on him?
He could be, did you say waste or utilize?
I don't know, man. It seems like you'd be better served to have maybe one of the punters on there, but
maybe. Hey, I wouldn't even say one of the punters. We'll get into the punting game and Mark Leggio and the rest. Chandler Staten. That's what I would invest a practice roster spot on.
Yeah. He missed his point after though, although the snap and hold weren't golden on that. From what I saw.
What else stood out to you today, Zach?
Well, I mean, Matt Cole was someone who made some plays in the first preseason game, Darrin. And I thought his returns, he had a couple big, one was negated by penalty, but that's not his fault. And I don't think that penalty really allowed him to get a burst. He had a missed field goal return almost to midfield. He had another kick return that's the one that was brought back. But I thought he looked really dynamic on kick returns. And he also plays defense. He had a nice tackle as well. I had him down for.
Yeah. I agree. I had some notes on Matt Cole. I tweeted this during the game. Like he runs aggressively. He runs hard. Now, when you say a player runs hard, I'm not talking about like putting in full effort. I'm talking about running with some authority, running with a little bit of juice, running with some aggression, not, fearing away or leaning away from contact, leaning into it. Matt Cole, to me, when the football is in his hands, he's like, stick your arms out all you want.
Yeah.
Dive at me all you want. I'm going to keep running. and I'm going to keep running with full power. You know,
And
he just doesn't hesitate. I really like what I see in him. Is he going to be a starting defensive back week one? Probably not. But I think he's somebody the Blue Bombers would really like to have as a DI, as an
yeah.
American defensive back and special teamer that can make the game day roster.
Yeah, who can, and for folks who aren't familiar, the DI is the designated import. So there's four of them, and they're Americans who can play on special teams. This guy's a returner, special teams, but
Yep.
they can't start. But like you said, he could rotate in on defense. And do you want to leave a guy like that off the roster, especially because Janarian Grant was on the suspended list? We don't know if he's fully healthy. You need to have a returner of Cole's ability in case Janarian Grant can't go or needs to be spelled off.
Yep. No question about that. Great to see everybody in the live chat. Numbers are growing by the day as Bomber Nation getting more amped up and more fired up here on Bonfire Sports for the 2023 regular season. As you may have heard, pregame, postgame, every single game here on the channel, on your podcast app, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I think we're even on Twitch. I got one viewer on Twitch. How about that,
We
Zach? You
always
like that?
mention Twitch, and I always twitch
It's like
for those.
it's like that scene from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where it's like a tick, right?
Yeah.
He's teaching his youngest cousin there, teaching her how to fight or teaching her how to stand up for herself to bullies at school, and he's like, you got to act a little crazy, you got a little twitch going. Like, I love that scene. But yeah, everybody, great to see the pregame and postgame, every single game, all season long through the 110th Grey Cup. For everybody's sake out there, hopefully the Winnipeg Blue Bombers make a fourth straight appearance in the game. It's in Hamilton once again this year, then in Vancouver, then in Winnipeg in 2025. But Bonfire Sports is where you want to be for it all. And then, of course, Bonfire midweek, Wednesday. Zach, you and I are going to dig into the entire CFL with a little bit of Blue Bombers focus peppered in with it all. It's
Well,
going to be
of
fun.
course. Well, CJ Diddick wants us to start wagering for real. Like
Right.
wagering on SIA.com, a few shekels on each game and seeing who throughout the season who's on top, Darren. I don't know. Do you want to put your money where your mouth is, or what do you think?
Bet. Let's do it. And by bet, I mean you got to go to SIA.com/bonfire. SIA is Canada's sports book. It's not just a marketing line. They are legit Canadian own and run. And for my money, that's where I want to bet. And I haven't been into the sports betting scene too long. I take my journalistic approach to my job more seriously than my rec time and gambling and sports betting and that sort of thing. But when I see value, I see value. And when I see an opportunity to, have a little bit of fun and throw, in your words, a couple shekels down on, a CFL game or a little NHL or a little NFL or a little NBA or whatever, I'm going to do that at SIA.com/bonfire. Jump on there. You're going to get a sweet bonus, 100% of whatever you deposit between $20 and $1,000. I think it's still $1,000 that they will bonus you in bet credits if
Yeah.
you deposit 1,000. But I mean, hey, throw $50 in there, $20 in there, grab a buddy and do it together. It can be a lot of fun. So yeah, okay, you and me, you want to go head to head this year? We can do
Yeah,
that.
I think we should. No, it doesn't
We'll
have to be
we'll we'll
20.
talk we'll talk units, not dollars. How about
Yeah, it
that?
doesn't have to be $20 a game like CJ was saying. That guy
Yeah.
just wants to make us poor, but
Well, like if you want to put $100 down on every game and I want to put 5, we'll just say you put 1 unit and I put 1 unit,
yeah,
and then
sure.
it's still equal. But like, you got the purse strings.
I see what you're
And
doing there with your unit. That beard's looking good though, DB. I know you put it out on Twitter where to go. I
mhm.
know they're not a sponsor, so we don't have to plug them, but not a sponsor yet,
Well,
maybe
how
with
about
that.
this? If you're a barber or a salon
Yeah,
or men's face care,
yeah,
heck, even women's face care, we
yeah.
don't care. We don't
We don't care. We
discriminate.
got
Tons of
women here too.
females,
Yeah,
tons of
Phyllis is here.
tons of women
Lynn
have reached
Reimer.
out. have
Yeah.
reached out, have been in the live chat, have been fans and listeners and viewers of Bonfire Sports for a long time. I love that. Football is for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, and every fan's opinion is worth the same. It is worth a lot, and that's why we invite you to come join us around the fire. You are the fire starters. But yeah, if you're a barber, hit me up.
Yeah.
816-8477, 204-816 tips. Call, text, leave a voicemail, leave a message, text message, just like texting your mama. And yeah, maybe you want to get your message out to the thousands that download
Right.
our podcast and watch our YouTube channel. We're just getting started here. We're just getting heated up.
We're just getting warmed up, and I'm just getting warmed up with my beard. I'm growing it back, so I like the beard. I had too many women in my life say, "Zach, you gotta have the beard back."
You have a house full of ladies.
So
I know a couple are human, and then the rest, they're also ladies. And then you got a boy cat that is just in love with me, and I'm allergic.
no, it's the girl cat. She's in love with you.
Oh, it's the girl cat, the black and
Yeah,
orange.
yeah, the black and orange, the
It's those
tortie. She
bonfire. It's those
loves you,
bonfire midweek
Darren.
colors. That's why.
Yeah,
That's why.
that's why. That's you got it right there. But
Speaking of warming up, Trevor
yeah,
Harris was just getting warmed up tonight, and
yeah,
then head coach Craig Dickinson pulled him from the game. He
yeah.
lobbied, but nope, sticking to the game plan. Trevor Harris, Darrell Walker, teammates in Edmonton in
Oh,
2021.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Reunited again. Will they have a little bit of magic with two very talented tailbacks in Saskatchewan? I'm hesitant to say as much yet, but they did look good. Demario Houston did not look so good guarding Darrell Walker tonight. Anybody
Yeah.
stand out to you, good or bad, Zach, before we get into Kenny Lawler, Carlton Agadosi, Rashid Bailey,
Yeah.
and some of Mike O'Shea's comments that he shared on the radio earlier.
Well, Demario Houston seemed to have a tough time today, and
Mhm.
I know it's only preseason, and he's a guy, as you've mentioned, he took Winston Rose's job on the boundary side corner, but he was beaten long. He was beaten a couple times by Darrell Walker. It could just be, he I don't know that he played much in the first preseason game, so he could just be, getting shaking the rust off, but
Sure.
a bit concerning to see him. Now, the other point is the other team gets paid too. I know it's just such a cliche, but it's a nice way of saying Darrell Walker. He may have fallen off last year, but maybe he's a guy that you know re. What am I trying to say here?
Oh,
Where
like
maybe he
he
regains
reignites
the
some
magic.
magic.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah, there
trying to
you go.
say. Maybe he
Yeah.
regains the magic that
Reestablishes himself as a dangerous player in this league because
right.
to remind everybody, Darrell Walker was kind of sleepwalking over the last
Ye
2 years in
yeah,
Edmonton. Did not
and
look like himself, looked like a shadow of himself.
and maybe that's because of who was throwing to him rather than
Yep.
his own,
Offensive
talent
system.
tailing off,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so maybe you see a resurgence of Darrell Walker, and maybe, it was just him and Trevor Harris being on the same page, being sharp, and Houston just happening to be the victim of that tonight. Maybe it's nothing.
Yep. Maybe. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see. You
see,
never
right?
know till live bullets, and we are less than a week away. 6 nights from now, we're going to have CFL
I
regular
know.
season action. And then Friday night, Bombers host the Hamilton Tiger Cats cross conference rivalry. Looking forward to that. Pregame and postgame, as always, right here on Bonfire Sports. But to tee it all up, you and I are going to get things going on Bonfire midweek. This past week, Zach, you and I talked about the breaking news at that time. Or sorry, it was me and Chris Walby talking about the breaking news on the pregame show just yesterday. Kenny Lawler placed on the suspended list. Let's quash and squash. Both are correct words.
They are.
Uh,
Quash and squash, and they're worth the same, points in Scrabble,
you're right. You're right, but
right?
they're worth
No squash.
0
Yeah.
here. Uh, so I'll just move on, but let's squash the rumors and the misinformation out there. Okay. Kenny Lawler was not suspended by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as a punitive move. It was not a disciplinary move. They did not suspend him because he was charged and convicted with a crime. Okay? He was initially arrested and charged with driving under the influence in October of 2021. Okay? At that time, the Blue Bombers suspended him. He did not make his game checks. He came back, finished the season, and then the next year signed with the Edmonton Elks and played last year with the Edmonton Elks, 2022. This past year, and this is from conversations I've had, and a lot of this information coming from Paul Friesen of the Winnipeg Sun. Go check my Twitter, twitter.com/Darrin Bauming. You'll or just pull up the Winnipeg Sun online, or the broad pages if you're more of a old school paper type of person, and read his story. They dug up all the information on Kenny Lawler. So he was suspended this time by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers because he was tried in court, pleaded guilty, and convicted of that crime in April of 2023. Okay. The Blue Bombers obviously knew he was charged, obviously knew that he was going to go to court for this in the spring. And he did. And he was convicted. Okay. He will pay a fine and be, disciplined the way anybody would be in Manitoba for driving under the influence. Okay. And Kenny Lawler has said it himself. He regrets it more than anything. Let's see him move on with his life and be on the straight and narrow from here. And hope for the best for him, and that nobody was hurt in this situation or in the future. That said, what has happened, and this is the reporting that Paul Friesen of the Winnipeg Sun did, is that now that Kenny Lawler was convicted, his work visa was no longer valid. So he is not valid. He is not eligible to work as an American citizen in Canada. Okay. So that's why he is placed on the suspended list. It's not discipline. It is a roster move. So the Blue Bombers retain his rights. They do not nullify his current contract, where they paid him $125,000 signing bonus, and they'll pay him his salary during the year. I think I've got that. His salary is $125,000. Forgive me. The signing bonus may be a different number. I digress. The point of the matter is he was suspended in order to retain his contract and status with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers while he gets this stuff figured out. Because right now, Kenny Lawler is not eligible to play in the regular season in the CFL. Okay? He spent the winter in Edmonton, so he has not traveled back to the United States. He has not crossed the border because he knew he was, you don't do I don't know, if I was convicted of something in a foreign country and I'm not a citizen there, Zach, wouldn't you think that, maybe staying in that country until it hits court is probably a good idea if you're able to do that? That's what Kenny Lawler did. And well, now the work visa is not valid. So they're going to hopefully get this straightened out the next 3 to 4 weeks. It could be longer. It could very well be longer. It could be shorter. But as of right now, Kenny Lawler will not be in the lineup in 7 days' time when the Blue Bombers host the Ticats regular season week 1.
So what would happen if they hadn't suspended him?
Well, he would take up a roster spot.
Right. So this is about saving a roster spot at the end.
It's about saving a roster spot. It's about it's not even that. If you're on the roster, you're getting a check, right?
So they're saving money as well by putting him on the suspended list.
Well, yes. I mean, it's more so the Blue Bombers aren't saving money by suspending him. Kenny Lawler cannot receive a paycheck. He cannot work legally in Canada as of today, as of right now.
So he's got to clear up this work visa.
Yes.
That is being put in jeopardy by having a conviction.
Yeah.
And that when you say it like that, it sounds like it's a little more complicated than 3 or 4 weeks. But I don't know the legalities of these things. I just can imagine that this could get tied up pretty easily in the labyrinth that is the legal system.
Hey, it takes time. He was convicted in 2021, October, and he was charged
Yeah,
in October of 2021. He was not tried. He did not plead, and he was not convicted until April of 2023. So it's
yeah.
like 18 months, right?
And it sounds like he wasn't. He's a guy who pleaded guilty. It's not like the legalities were complicated here.
Yep.
It's pretty cut and dry. He admitted to the crime. So,
Yep.
but I mean, if he misses 4 games, that's a quarter of his game checks almost. Hey, like that's a lot.
Yeah, like 5 games is more than a quarter of the season.
Yeah,
18 games, right? They don't get paid on the bye weeks. They get paid by the game that they play. That doesn't
right.
matter if you're Zach Collaros or a Canadian rookie or even a practice roster guy. Um, well, I think practice roster guys get paid by the week, not by the game. But this will affect the Winnipeg Blue Bombers salary cap. It'll
Yeah.
probably ease things a little bit. You know, I want to talk to you about Sean Lemon. I heard a little something about Sean Lemon
Oh,
tonight.
did you?
Mm.
I mean, there's a lot of excitement about the possibility of bringing a guy like him in.
Well, what do the Blue Bombers have? They have, I would say, a need on the defensive line. Is Willie Jefferson not going to start? No, he's going to start. Jackson Jeffcoat's going to start. Okay. Jake
If he's
Thomas.
healthy.
Jake Thomas is going to start. Ricky Walker is probably going to start. Just pulling up the Bombers roster here.
Well, now Caleb Thomas, he has another sack tonight.
Yep.
He might be someone that makes the team. Hey,
Mike O'Shea talked about him after the game tonight, and likes what he's seen.
yeah,
Okay, so we got Kenny Lawler out of the way. Just going back to my notes here, we're going to talk about Agadosi and Bailey and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers starting receiving core without Kenny Lawler to start the year. We'll talk about the punt game. I think people are curious to talk about Mark Leggio, talk about Carl Schmitz, and talk about Jamison Sheehan and Chandler Staten, in addition to Sergio Castillo and how that all might shake out. Mike O'Shea talking to DT and DB on OB,
nice.
the host broadcaster tonight. O'Shea happy with the effort. Thought the team played hard, but they were not good enough. He did not like what he saw as far as execution. They were sloppy. Sloppy was a term Mike O'Shea used tonight. Way too many penalties. Like I should
Yeah,
pull the penalty numbers up. I get it's
40
preseason.
yards. He
Yeah,
had 40 yards of penalties.
but how many were declined? A ton, a
Uh,
bunch. So I think those are areas like, hey, this is a very veteran, thin preseason game 2
yeah,
lineup, right? But Mike O'Shea, direct quote, talking about Tyrell Pigram. He is an electric player.
yeah,
So the head coach sees what all of you out there in Bomber Nation saw as well. And then asked about Kenny Lawler by Derek Taylor. Mike O'Shea asked, do you expect, will Kenny Lawler be back? Absolutely, said the head coach. So again, they're not mad at Kenny Lawler. They're
right,
trying to figure it out. They signed him this offseason, knowing that his court date was a couple months from then.
right.
And he probably told them he was going to plead guilty. And
I'm
that's what he
sure he
did. And
did.
yeah. So with no Kenny Lawler, Zach, I would love to hear people in the live chat. Be sure to hit us up right now. If you're watching this after, you can still hit the comments on YouTube and on Facebook. I read them all. Or if you're listening on podcast, text the hotline 204-816-TIPS, 816-8477, just like texting your mama. Standard message rates apply. How do you see the Winnipeg Blue Bombers starting receiving core shaping up? Carlton Agadosi, Rashid Bailey, Dalton Schoen, who did not play in the preseason. Is he healthy? We'll see. Indications
Yeah,
are he is. Nick Dembski, Drew Wolatarski as the Canadians. Maybe Janarian Grant. Will Janarian Grant be ready for week 1? Saw him on the
Right.
field today. Did not play in the preseason. He's coming off the suspended list. Just a personal matter. Again, my understanding is it's not a disciplinary thing when these guys are placed on the suspended list. The Argos placed a guy on the suspended list today. No word of it being disciplinary. It's just a word
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
associate with discipline, but it's not.
Well, they should maybe change the word, because people get in an uproar about it, but it's really a paper move. But I think what you were getting to here is, with Lawler out, and we don't know how long. I guess it depends how long it takes the work visa situation to get sorted out, given that
Mm-hmm.
he has a conviction. Obviously, he's going to be able to play at some point. So
Yep.
you've got Agadosi. I know Jeff Hamilton was thinking Agadosi takes that spot. That seems to be a pretty fair argument. You look at Agadosi tonight. He was pretty good. He caught three passes on 7 targets for 51 yards, and he
Mm-hmm.
had that large of 30. He was also open in the end zone. That Piggy threw it behind him. He would have had a touchdown there. Um, they end up scoring on the third down try there to uh, Amari Jones in the corner of the end zone from Piggy. But I thought
Jones has got
Agadosi
some
looked
skills,
good.
man. Jones has
And
got
I
some
was,
skills.
yeah, he does. And I was sitting in row 5 today with some friends of mine, the Bouchel family. I love them. Caitlin, I love your husband too, but Caitlin's a real Bomber fan there.
Careful,
Anyway,
careful. It's her husband.
I know, and he's actually a ninja. So if I say that too much, he can kill me. But he's tried once before. That's another story. But they were on row 5, and it was very close to the action. And man, is Carlton Negadosi a giant
He
man?
really is.
Like, he really
And he's
is.
bigger than he looks when you say like, "Oh, he's skinny." No, he's really not. He's
He's
just
not skinny.
that he's that tall, that long-limbed that he looks
Yeah,
skinny, but he's got some beef on him. So
he's got beef on him.
he's not
Yeah,
going to be a physical pushover. I think he's a real weapon at 6'8", whatever it is. I think that's why he wears 86, because he's 6'8". Maybe.
is that? I thought he was only 6'6". 6'8" is.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. You're
Look
gonna
it up.
hold
I mean,
you're
I
gonna
wouldn't
hold
be
the reporter to
surprised.
the you're gonna hold the reporter to the
Well, I
stats,
have
eh?
to. You say you're the objective one, so I have to.
He's
I
six
have to
six.
objectify you. I
He
mean,
is six
what am I
six.
saying here? No, no, that's not what I meant.
Subjective. Objective? Biased. None of it.
Biased.
He is 6'6", 220. 220. That's a
Yeah,
nice
that's
size.
it's almost as heavy as me, and I'm 5'6".
I'm just gonna leave that one right there.
Sure, you
It's
do
been a
that.
it's been a tough winter. So you got Agadosi, you got Rashid Bailey.
Yeah,
And I think for the Blue Bombers, it's probably safe to say that uh, Dalton Schoen will be in the starting lineup, as will Nick Dembski. I think
yeah,
Brendan O'Leary Orange and Drew Wolatarski are maybe not neck and neck, but I think O'Leary Orange, Bolo, I like to call him,
yeah,
bumping, just bumping at the back of Drew Wolatarski in that Blue Bombers starting receiving core. I think that might be a spot the Blue Bombers, well, they might have some options there.
yeah,
And you got, Jeremy Murphy, the rookie Canadian 2023 draft pick. He connected with Tyrell Pigram in each of the preseason games. He has looked pretty darn good. Jordan Salima at running back, I think, is an interesting player that could make this football team. I've got him as a guy that I think will make the team. I got a handful of guys here. Um, we'll get into them in a second. But when you've got someone like Amari Jones, who we talked about this on midweek. He started games in the NCAA at wide receiver. He started games in the NCAA at running back. He started games in the NCAA at quarterback. This guy is a true slash, a double slash, right?
double slash.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's one stripe short of an Adidas band. Okay. He has speed. The way that he turned his body and spun in the air on that fade route touchdown grab from Tyrell Pigram. He's clearly athletic.
Yeah.
Did he get too much going in the return game? I don't think so. I'll have to look at those numbers, but I think he's somebody that could make this team. He joined training camp late, so he wasn't able to. I think he joined the team like the day before the game in Edmonton or 2 days before the game in Edmonton, so he didn't dress there. But he did dress tonight and looked pretty good. Just the one catch, but returned some kicks as well. Amari Jones double slash. He might just be a nice little weapon
Yeah,
at
he had
Zach
a
Clark's
decent
disposal.
kickoff. He
Yeah.
he returned one kickoff for 23 yards, Darren.
Well, there you go.
That's pretty good.
There you go. I heard the return numbers and the punt numbers might be off today. Yeah, so
What?
he had one kickoff return for 23 yards. That's pretty good. We should be talking about Matt Cole and the missed field goal return,
Yeah, that was electric.
46 yards, 64 yards. Like, man. Whew.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah. If he's a DI and maybe Amari Jones is a DI and those are your two returners, if Janarian Grant isn't ready to start the season,
Right.
that would be kind of a nice thing. We talked about Matt Cole on the defensive side. Jake Kelly, Canadian at safety. I'm told he's doing some really good things.
Hmm.
He's putting in the work and he's a good football player. So with Noah Hallett being released and essentially, like, I'm guessing he's going to miss the majority, if not all, of this upcoming season as he tries to recover from just a nagging injury
Yeah.
that just won't go away. Maybe Jake Kelly's a guy the Blue Bombers look at to, replace a Nick Hallett or to replace a Retta Cramdy. Nice player there. How about Barrington Wade? You texted me during the game. You liked what you saw from the linebacker.
Yeah, I thought he had a couple of nice tackles. He missed a couple as well, I think. It was hard to keep track, but I thought he had a nice game. You can certainly see his length and size when you're sitting on the row five. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons they like him, just that body type. If you have long arms like that, right? You can stuff a hole a lot easier, assuming you're not arm tackling, of course. But I thought he didn't look out of place there. And what? How about you? Oh, did we lose you, Darren?
I muted myself. How
Oh, you
about
muted
that?
yourself. Yeah, Sir Barrington Wade the third. Yes, I thought he
Yes.
was good.
He's somebody, Barrington Wade, at linebacker as an American rookie who people around the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the media have been talking about since the beginning of camp. He looks to be the real deal. Is he going to start week one? That's always what I'm going to say in qualifying an athlete who is a rookie in the CFL. Is he going to start week one? I don't think so. I don't think the Blue
No.
Bombers will need him to. Even if Adam Bighill, who has not put on pads and a helmet, at least during official practice activities, he might be doing something on his own before or after on the field, that sort of thing. I'm sure he's working his tail off. But Adam Bighill could miss the beginning of the season. I think that's a tangible reality now. Um, if Big Hill can't go, I think it is, and should mention Kyrie Wilson, also on the 6-game injury list to start the year alongside Teodric Hansen. I still think Winnipeg looks at their linebacking core and says,
Mhm.
we're going to go with Shane Gauthier. We're going to go with
Yeah.
Jesse Briggs. We're going to go with Les Maruo, the global returning for his second year. He had a great rookie season in 2022. And we're going to go with Malik Clements at linebacker. And they even have some other options if they want to go a little bit deeper than that. So he might even make the roster for week one. I noticed him on pretty much all the special teams units tonight,
Mhm.
Barrington Wade. So if he's able to do that, he's able to continue to grow and be a good Winnipeg Blue Bomber. I mean that by character and work ethic and fitting in, FIFO. It's on the rings for a reason. If he's able to do that, then I think, Barrington Wade's somebody that, we could be talking about come playoff time, or if the Blue Bombers need him even earlier than that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he didn't pop off the page as much as the Bombers would have hoped. I don't know, but you've got that experience in Goche and Briggs and Maluo and I assume Malik Clements starts at the will spot.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see, but it could be, some of these guys take a long time to mature and learn the game, the CFL game, if they're Americans. So interesting to see where Barrington Wade ends up by the end of the year. Hey, Darren.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I want to maybe mention alongside my comment about like maybe come playoffs, we'll see. I'm not saying he's not going to do he's not going to do nothing. He's going to do something before the playoffs.
Right.
He's not going to be a non-factor, a zero factor uh, during the regular season. He's probably going to make the team. He's probably going to make the week one roster, my guess. And I just mean, he could be somebody that could become heavily rotational by mid or late season. Uh, that's what I mean by, playoffs.
Yeah.
We could be talking a lot about him. You want to talk about the punters? Because I
Yeah, I was
think
gonna say.
this Bombers kicking game is wide open. I think Sergio Castillo will be the place kicker. He'll kick off. He'll
Yeah.
handle the converts and the field goals. But you got two globals, and you got a veteran Canadian three-tool kicker who is much maligned amongst the Blue Bombers fan base, that are all fighting for one job.
Yeah, we were talking about rotation. I mean, what a rotation there. You had the three punters, right? You've got Castillo and Staten. It was a kicker and three punters. Well, just to get the kicking out of the way, Castillo hits from 29, the only field goal attempt. Staten misses his point after attempt, which again, I don't know if it was the snap and hold, Darren. I don't know what you saw, but
It happens.
that's not good for Staten. I don't know. Maybe he makes the practice roster, but he's not unseating Castillo. And then you have Legio, Carl Schmitz from Bermuda, and Jamison Sheehan from Australia, all fighting it out, all duking it out, two globals and one Canadian. Much maligned Mark Legio, the incumbent. I think a lot of people, well, at first you thought it was his job, and then you were kind of waffling on it, saying you don't know if Legio actually had the job. What do we make of tonight's performances by these three punters?
Well, what can you make of them? You can just look at the raw numbers, and
Yeah,
you can look at how effective they were. Legio took a illegal kick penalty, kicking one
yeah,
out of bounds. Yeah, the holding, the snap, those sorts of situations. And remember, this was not the Blue Bombers starting lineup in the preseason finale. Gone are the days of
yeah.
football teams ensuring that their big names play in front of their home fans in their one preseason game. It's about ensuring that week one, regular season, live bullets, games that matter, everybody is as ready as they can be. So if the Bombers played their first game at home and the second game was on the road, maybe we would have seen some Zach Collaros at IG Field, but not the case. So for these punters with a young lineup, a job audition lineup, I'll almost refer to it. I think it's tough to fully gauge these guys, but bigger paychecks out there, rightfully so. They're the ones who are going to look at all of these guys, the two global prospects and Mark Legio, and make a decision, right? Do we go with somebody who we know what we got, or do we go towards a global rookie that you're less sure about, but clearly if you decide to go that way, you like them? This is my question that I wonder, Zach, and maybe I'll get you to chime in on it, is if Teodric Hansen is on the 6-game injured list to start the year, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going to need depth at global, because they have Les Maruo. He'll be a special teamer. He'll be a rotational linebacker. They have Solomane Karamoko, who is a DB, a big body DB, kind of hybrid type dimebacker, safety. Could he start? I don't know. I don't know. But if you have a global kicker, if you have a global punter,
Yeah, it's a good point.
then you need to dress two globals every game. You don't need to start them, but you need to
Right.
dress two. Uh, can Karamoko be somebody the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are comfortable as a backup defensive back? Because you don't have a whole bunch. It's one
Yeah.
thing if you got to play a D lineman at O line, like if the O line gets ravaged by injuries in a game and Jake Thomas has got to go play guard. That's one thing. But if you got to take a receiver and play them at DB, like Duron Carter practiced at DB before playing DB and he still struggled, right? And he's a
Hmm.
bit of a freak athlete. So I don't think you want to put yourself in a situation where you don't have the depth at defensive back that you need. So maybe global punter is a direction the Blue Bombers want to go. I don't think Tomoya Machino, again, for depth sake, you're going to dress 6 offensive linemen, maybe 7 at the most. But I don't know if the Blue Bombers want to do that. I think it's probably smarter to go with Karamoko or go with a global punter in addition to Les Maruo, who clearly is somebody they have a lot of confidence in to be a rotational player, to be a special teamer. Losing Teodric Hansen to the 6th game to start the year, it's put pressure on the roster maker led by Mike O'Shea, but that whole staff.
Yeah, it's a really good point, Darren, with Tjadrik Hansen and the whole ratio of global players that you need. You need to have two, uh, because just looking at the raw numbers, eh, Leggio may have saved his job tonight. If you just look at the raw numbers and you take it out of context of the ratio
He punted one out of
considerations,
bounds, and that
he
doesn't show on
did.
the.
He did, and but Sheehan also shanked one. Um, but all in all, Leggio had the highest average punt at 49. He beat out Schmitz by a yard, mind you. Jamison Sheehan averaged 36.5. But Leggio also acquitted himself well in the kickoffs. He had the longest kickoff of the night. He hit a point after attempt. Uh, we all sort of hold our breath when Leggio tries to point after attempt, and I think all the pressure he was facing, I thought he acquitted himself well. I mean, given the pressure he was facing, and the other thing I think about is, if for some reason Castillo goes down, at least they know Leggio can kick, and they know what they have in him, and hopefully he continues to improve in that part of his game. But so I thought Leggio may have saved his job, but when you think about the roster considerations with globals, uh, and needing to dress too and needing some depth, and you make a very good point. And could that be the pendulum upon which this kicking competition result swings?
Yeah, I mean, possibly. It'll be very interesting to see how this shakes out because they ain't keeping all
Indeed.
these guys. They ain't keeping all these guys. They can't, right? Phyllis with an interesting assessment. Less pressure on Mark Leggio if he's the sidekick to the kicker. That
Yeah,
is, you don't have to handle all 3 duties. You can just punt, right? And let veteran all-star caliber kicker Sergio Castillo do his thing. That is interesting.
it is
Um,
interesting.
Something else I want to mention as a potential factor in this. Okay. And this is looking a little bit down the line, but Mark Leggio is in his 3rd season with the Blue Bombers. What happens, Schnitzy, when a Canadian enters a contract year? What happens with that first post rookie deal for a Canadian starter?
You get paid.
So, no, it's not the 2024 off season. Okay. It's still 2023, and we're looking at the regular season kicking off in 6 days. So the Blue Bombers don't have to worry about that. Mark Leggio is still on his rookie deal. However, if you're looking towards the future, don't you want to develop somebody now? Like, Look,
Yeah.
if Carl Schmitz and Jamison Sheehan are not as good as Mark Leggio, the Blue Bombers should keep Mark Leggio.
Yeah.
But if they're as good or better,
Yeah.
and this may sound stupid, like it may sound like, well, no kidding, if he's as good or better, you keep him. But Jamison Sheehan is not a place kicker, okay? Carl Schmitz is not a place kicker. Could they in a pinch? Probably. But as much as Blue Bomber fans who are maybe on the negative perspective of Mark Leggio as the Blue Bombers kicker, he's still somebody who I think there is trust to go get the job done. This Blue Bombers team started him in the Grey Cup
Yeah.
and trusted him to help them win a game. Is he the like? Look, I said this on.
He's not the reason they lost.
No, there's a bunch of reasons why the Blue Bombers lost. You know, their third string quarterback threw 2 picks. Why is he throwing the football that much? Offensive play
Yeah.
calling was a reason.
Oh, you're
Chad
starting to get
Kelly.
blood boiling again, Darren. I was just
Chad
starting to
Kelly
get
was a
over that.
reason. Well, I like to dig into the rationale behind my opinions, right? Okay. That all said, we'll park the 109th championship, okay?
Please.
For the sake of it being June. Oh, it's June. Football
For the sake of my
fresh
mental
again.
health, just park
Yeah.
it.
For everybody's.
Dynasty denied. Come on. Come
Uh,
on, man.
The Bombers have faith in Mark Leggio to say if they need him, he can punt, he can kick, he
Yeah.
can kick off, he can handle all 3 duties. Okay. So when I say if Jamison Sheehan or Carl Schmitz are as good as Mark Leggio, maybe Leggio still gets the, pardon the terrible pun, the leg up on that punting job.
I do not pardon that pun, Darren.
No, okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll take it. Yeah, what's that's a CE. They were talking about it on the BC Lions preseason live game last night. CE, critical error, when you're breaking down the film the next day. I'll take the CE on. I'll take the CE on that one. But if Jamison Sheehan is better than Mark Leggio, if Carl Schmitz is better than Mark Leggio, I think as a global, there's value as like, look, I get one of these guys is 36 years old, but you're still going to be able to get 4 or 5 years out of a punter if they're in shape. If they're in shape at 36, they're probably going to be okay when they're 39, 40. You know,
Especially if they were on ice for all those years, like Carl
Lord willing.
Schmitz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lord willing.
Lord willing.
Lord willing. But yeah, I'm just I'm embodying my Saskatchewan brethren with a little bit of Bible Belt there. And like, you know, so the decision is going to be an interesting one when we hear about it in the coming days. What happens now? Well, they're cracking some cold ones, probably. I don't know that for a fact, but they're probably cracking some cold ones. They're sitting back, they're watching some film, they're talking about the game, and they're having a hot stove, just like we are right here on the bonfire. Mike O'Shea and the coaching staff and the upper football operations management are making cuts as we speak. Okay. They will not announce those cuts publicly until Mike O'Shea speaks man to man to every single individual. He'll probably want to speak man to man to every individual, whether they make the team or not. He probably wants to go to a Barrington Wade and say, hey, congratulations. Looking forward to having you on the team and helping us win a championship in 2023. You know, as much as he's going to go to somebody who is going to get a plane ticket in the coming days to go home and have a personal conversation with him. That's the way Mike O'Shea operates. He mentioned it on the radio on his post game. Mike O'Shea says there's no good things that come out of the next couple days. You know, no doubt, guys that make the team, they're going to be elated. They're going to be over the moon. They're going to be very excited to continue their pro football journey. For others, they're going to look at other opportunities. They're going to maybe decide to move on from football or look at other football opportunities. But Mike O'Shea is not a fan of cutting guys because it's no doubt probably no doubt an emotional time for everybody involved, Mike O'Shea included. He's been pretty clear about that. Um, that all said, Zach, what maybe are you is there a player that you think is maybe a dark horse or somebody you think you saw a little something in that could crack the lineup?
Well, if I think Caleb Thomas is someone who I think it would be hard to leave off the team at this point. He's had a sack in each game, and he blocked a walk-off field goal attempt.
Mm-hmm.
And big time players make big time plays in big time moments. Isn't that what they say, right?
Yep.
And when you're being auditioned under the bright lights and you make a sack for both preseason games and you potentially win a game by blocking a field goal for your team. I think that's pretty exciting for the coaches, and I think that counts for a lot. And I think defensive line is a place where we are going to need more depth. We're still smarting from the loss of Stove Richardson, Casey Sales, um, even going back to Drake Nevis. So I think he's a guy that if he can continue that at that clip, he's an exciting piece to have on your roster.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you there. What do you think of Damian Jackson, the former Navy
Yeah.
SEAL, who is kind of just a do all be all guy, long
He
snapper,
even caught a
uh,
pass
D
today.
line? Well, yeah, he's playing fullback and he caught a pass,
Yeah.
picked up 4 yards. Does he look the most fleet of foot? No, he doesn't. But
Yeah.
Mike O'Shea has talked about Damian Jackson as, I think Glenn Suter mentioned it on the broadcast tonight on TSN that there's just some guys, like he'll ask Mike O'Shea, like, like what kind of guys is this? Is he
Yeah.
you think he'll make the team? What's he got? And Mike O'Shea will just respond to Suter and say, you'd like him as a teammate. And that's kind of enough said.
Yeah.
That's what Glenn Suter shared on the broadcast tonight. Damian Jackson, I think, is just, he's got that Mike O'Shea. He's got a little bit of that Mike O'Shea, that little bit of that Mike Miller, a little bit of that Jesse Briggs, a little bit of that Brandon Alexander, just a little bit of that Adam Big Hill, right? A little bit of
Yeah.
that, it's hard to put a word to it. Just a little bit of that extra, just that X factor, that intangible. Why is it called an intangible? We always talk about he's got the intangibles. Well, intangible means you can't really touch it. It's not a real, he's a really fast player. Oh, we like the ball in his hands. He can make guys miss. He's a sure tackler. He's great on special teams. He kicks, he's a great punter. Those are tangible things. Intangibles are the things you can't touch. And those intangibles are the reason why Mike Miller is a future Hall of Famer, why Jesse Briggs is going into, how many years has he been in the league now? 9, 10, as a special teamer and rotational backup linebacker, right? Damian Jackson's got a little bit of that based on what guys have said about him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But he is
Interesting.
interesting. He's fascinating and fascinating history. And he's a Navy SEAL. I mean, the guy can handle anything. He just learned how to be a fullback. And there he is playing fullback in an actual game. It's insane. So he does the long snapping duties as well. But I just don't know where he fits in this lineup because he's not going to start as a fullback. That's Mike Miller's job. Is he going to be a DI? Are they going to use one of their defense or designated imports on a long snapper, fullback, defensive end? Because he also plays defensive end, isn't that right,
Yeah.
Jackson?
He'd kind of be
Yeah,
he would kind of be like the outside linebacker in a
yeah,
3-4 system. So you watch the NFL draft, they'll talk about like guys aren't defensive ends or outside linebackers, they call them an edge. You're an
right.
edge. So maybe
Right.
you're a defensive end like a Jackson Jeffcoat. Maybe you're more of a outside linebacker um, like a Von Miller, right? Where, yeah, you're a D lineman, but you're also kind of a quote unquote outside linebacker. Does that
Yeah.
exist in the CFL? Not really.
Not really.
But Teodric Hansen, when Teodric Hansen was drafted by the Bombers, he was a linebacker,
Linebacker. Yeah, that's true.
and now he's a D end. He's kind of
So
that
so yeah.
that technique, right?
So is there room on the roster for Jackson? I think I just don't know, but maybe he's a practice roster guy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Mike Benson, former Winnipeg Rifle, hashtag rifle up. Go check them
Rifle
out
up.
this season, riflesfootball.com. Is 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 Mike Benson going to play another 5-7 years? No. So maybe Damian Jackson's a guy that you want to stick around with and develop a little bit. You know what I failed to do? Goodness
What?
gracious. Our good friends at Shannon's Irish Pub. It was lit
Oh yes.
tonight there. Oh, they like throwing that word around. It's very Streveler-esque. Lit at Shannon's tonight. 21 beers on tap. Amazing curated food menu. They got pub classics, but they also got amazing culinary delights beyond that. Their wings are off the charts good. You ain't getting bony little wings. Nice meaty wings, dressed up right, cold beer, your choice of scotch and whiskey and cocktails, and maybe you're into the shots. They got you covered. They got karaoke 3 nights a week, game day specials, Jets and Bombers games before and after. They are open. Go check them out. 175 Carlton Street, just a saucer pass down the road from True North Square. I'm scared to bring you back up on camera, Zach. Are you doing all
Oh,
right?
I'm just stretching my neck out, you know. Just took that break to make sure I was nice and limber for you.
Appreciate that. Hey, it's preseason for everybody, right?
Well, I've got to fix my screen here because I'm the way I'm looking into the camera, it's making my neck muscles twitch, so I've got
Maybe
to
it's
figure that
bedtime.
out.
Hey, maybe it's bedtime.
I don't know if it's bedtime yet. I mean,
Well,
oh, we have so
I
much
want
to
to.
cover. We have to give out our major awards here.
We do. We'll fire through those quick. I want to get the live chat involved. What do you guys think about the Blue Bombers having a running back around to be the backup to Johnny Augustine or be the 1-2 punch with Johnny Augustine? Brady Oliveira may not be ready for week 1. We will see. The words of Mike
Right.
O'Shea in talking about Jackson Jeffcoat, Adam Big Hill, Brady Oliveira, Winston Rose, these guys that have not participated in a lot of camp, nor have they played in either preseason game. Mike O'Shea says they'll be ready when they're ready.
Yeah.
That's the most you're going to get
Thanks,
from.
Mike.
That's the most you're going to
Thanks, Mike, for
get from the head
clarifying
coach.
things.
Jordan Salima, I think, is a player that has done some very nice
Yeah.
things.
He had the
4.9,
touchdown.
4.9 yards per carry. Yeah, had the
Yeah.
touchdown. Did he have a catch? Yeah, he
Not
had
that I remember.
two catches on 3 targets. So
Oh, okay.
he ripped one off for 18 in the pass game as well. So Jordan Salima, him and Tyrell Pigram, who we talked about at length off the top. If you missed our chat about Piggy T, as they call him, go check that out on the podcast, or you can rewind. That's the beauty of Bonfire Sports, on demand and available. Jump ahead, jump back. It's there for you. We talked about it earlier on the show. I think Jordan Salim is somebody that's going to be hanging around. That's my opinion.
Listen, I know he's Canadian and that passport helps, but and I don't want to be too controversial here, but is Augustine good enough? Like is he good enough to be the backup? I know he's got the Canadian passport. He's had some sparkling numbers in the past,
Good
both
enough to
running and
be
passing.
Oliveira's backup?
Yeah. Is he played well enough in these 2 preseason games? I don't know. He had a 3.5 average tonight, a large of
Yeah.
6. I know he wasn't playing with
Well,
the starting O-line,
yes,
but
that's
he
an
didn't
important
look
one.
too good last week either. With that starting O-line, he looked pretty pedestrian.
Yeah,
So
what did he
I,
have?
I'm curious. I'm curious to see if folks in the chat think. I'm not sure Augustine has this. I don't. I know he plays specials too, but I'm not sure his job is safe. Am I being crazy?
Uh, I'm never going to call you crazy.
You can if you want.
Well, yeah, I might like call you after the show and be like, dude, you're crazy
You're
with
great.
that.
I mean,
But
let me just say this, Darren. Sorry, like last week, I've just pulled
is
up the
he good
stats.
enough? Is he good enough? Like
He
that's
had
that's what
5
you're
carries
asking.
for 5 yards last week.
Hit the live chat. Do you like Johnny Augustine as the Blue Bombers number 2
I don't
behind Brady
know.
Oliveira?
I don't know if he's a guy we keep around.
Yeah, this is interesting. Chris Joyle watching live on YouTube. Looks like Chris is a drummer as well. Throw Matt
Hey, Chris.
Cole in as a rusher. Did pretty good on returns tonight, but Grant will likely have that role. Yeah, I agree with Grant having that role likely, but will Grant play week 1? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. There's a
Jordan
lot of
Salima can return too, as can Amari Jones. So they have
right.
options. These are good problems.
Well, and Bomber fans saying Augustine can't get through contact. That's a problem if you're a running back. If you look at the strength of a guy like Andrew Harris or Brady Oliveira, they get yards after contact. They might not stay upright, like totally vertical, but they're falling forward for the couple extra yards after contact. And I didn't see any of that from Augustine. It seems like he's more of a gasher, but if someone gets an arm on him or whatever, gets a shoelace on him, he seems to go down.
Yeah. Yeah. Lynn with a great point. Last year, everyone was screaming for Johnny Augustine to start over
Right.
Brady
How
Oliveira
the mighty have fallen.
because Brady couldn't get it done, said Lynn. Well, Lynn saying Bomber Nation said that a year ago. And what happened? Well, Brady Oliveira was a 1,000-yard rusher. And a
He
couple weeks into
was.
the season, Zach, remind everybody what I said about the run game early in the season.
They're not going to show all their cards.
And then what happened?
And then they started showing some cards and got some runs,
Yep. Yep.
some flushes, some straight flushes, those kinds of runs.
Ryan Friesen, who, by the way, thanks for using your real name this year.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
not
Bob
Bob
Molly
Molly.
and those
What were
Bomber
some of his nicknames? Bob
legends.
Molly. I think one time he was Richie Leone or something. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
but I'm ignoring all your comments. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can to follow the comments. It's a little bit different this year. New software. Hope you guys are enjoying the new visuals and interactivity with some things this year. I mean, I'm looking for your comment, Mike. Or Ryan. Here's one about Mike from Ryan. Mike Miller, greatest special teams player of all time. I think I literally pulled that up earlier. Miller on the team, but missed a lot of training camp. Yeah, that is true. Jesse Briggs, some of those guys that are a little bit more veteran, they'll miss good stretches of camp. But yeah, Friesen's
Mike Miller's got
Bob
a
Molly.
sweet mullet going. Like
Yeah,
it
he's cut from a different
curls back
cloth.
there. He's also freaking ripped. Like he is jacked. I saw him on the sidelines today because I was in row 5 with my good friends Andrew and Caitlin, and yeah, you could see the musculature on some of these guys. He's just
Craig
absolutely jacked.
Craig Smith, for those of you that don't know Craig, there he is holding the Grey Cup. He has won Grey Cups. He is a long time CFL professional football scout and player personnel staffer for a handful of CFL teams. Great guy on top of it all, even better guy than his outstanding career working in professional football. But Craig says what he sees
Yeah.
as a professional football mind. Johnny Augustine's game is speed and quickness, not a power back. I think what people will often confuse, to Craig's point, what people will often confuse is when Johnny Augustine breaks one outside, and then it's like a weak side linebacker or a dime or a halfback or a corner stepping up to tackle him and he'll plow him. You know, he'll just truck him and run him over. By the way, Vance Barnes, who
Yeah,
another one
he
of these right
trucked someone, didn't he?
late in the fourth quarter, absolutely just
Yeah.
put him on his Uh,
Yes, yes.
put him on his Augustine. There you go. But I think people confuse that power in the open field to truck a guy with power between the tackles. That's a little bit more of a bowling ball, right? Andrew Harris, he could do both. Brady Oliveira, he can kind of do both. But Oliveira, lateral quickness like Johnny Augustine, but more power between the tackles at slower speed. Johnny Augustine, a little bit more quickness to his game. So,
Yeah, but he's still not putting up any nice numbers either way. So I
well, we'll
don't
see.
know.
We'll see how that shakes out. You know, Johnny Augustine's going to make the team. He's going to be on the roster. The Bombers start Brady Oliveira as a Canadian at tailback. They're going to have a Canadian backup in Johnny Augustine. So,
Or maybe
it,
they'll find out, Jordan Salima's great aunt grew up in, grew up in Trois
right.
Rivières, or like,
She was
you know,
born on the Confederation Bridge.
right, right. And she had breakfast in Windsor, Ontario one
Yes.
day, and so
Yes.
he's
Grandma
a
had
Canadian.
breakfast in Windsor, Ontario, 9.5 months pregnant. And
Right.
yeah, no, hey, you never know.
You never know.
You never know, but it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. You got give me a game ball. Who you got, Zach?
A game ball, it's got to go to Piggy T. I got a few game balls. Actually, I just have a couple of game balls, but
Just
the
give me
bigger
one.
the bigger one goes to Piggy T. I thought he was absolutely electric, just like Mike O'Shea said. I thought he was phenomenal. He had I believe he had two drives and had two touchdowns,
Mhm.
two touchdown drives on each of his drives. So he can run, he can pass, maybe he can even fly. But no, that was a bad one. Pigs
Oh,
fly, Joe.
I just got
Yeah,
you. I
yeah.
just got you.
But no, I thought he was electric. I really I had a lot of fun. My eyes got wider, and as I said, you heard the crowd, you heard an audible electricity in the air, um, with Piggy under center, and I think he's exciting, and I hope he's our short yardage third string guy.
So I was just playing with you. If you got another game ball, Zach, go ahead.
No, my other one was Matt Cole. I thought he was
Hmm.
really, really impressive on those returns,
Well,
and he also had a nice
can I take
tackle in the third quarter.
I was going to say, can I take Matt Cole? But okay, if those are your game balls, I'll just give one to Jordan Salima. I think he did a lot of good things tonight to, make him being cut or even put on the practice. Like, I mean, they'll do what they need to do to keep a guy. But I think Jordan Salima really did some nice things. But your number one game ball, no doubt, Tyrell
Yeah.
Pigram. He was excellent tonight. Yep.
Yeah, and then he was so fun to watch that he would be the reason I rewatch part of the game. Like I think
Mm,
I'll look for the game on demand on TSN and watch Piggy's Piggy T's reps there. And by the way, I saw someone say we can do better with a nickname than Piggy T.
yep.
That is his nickname. He's
Since
had that nickname
middle
since,
school.
yeah.
But here's the thing. More nicknames have come out since. Okay. Um some guys just call him Pig.
Yeah.
Some guys they've used a variety of different iterations of it, playing on his last name Pigram, spelled Pig Rome. But that's how he pronounces it. So I mean, I think we could probably find a good nickname for him. It's your boy
Yeah.
Bruce. He goes AKA Piggy Smalls because he called him the notorious PIG.
Very nice.
Oh,
Very nice.
not bad.
That's better than what I had, which was Winnipeggy.
Well, T Conapoli getting piggy with it. I'm gonna give it to the notorious
Of course, in
over
caps,
over
Tico Napoli. Everything has to be in caps. Like,
sure. But it's your boy Bruce goes with Piggy Smalls.
yeah, that's
Better
pretty good.
rapper than getting piggy with it would be the reference to that other rapper whose name we will not even mention
Right.
because he had a pretty rough winter. Um, so Yeah, I kind of like this. Ryan Friesen say his name is Isha. Isha Boy Bruce. It's true. Uh, Andrea, who joins again this season. Good to see you watching live on YouTube. I
Hey,
think number
Andrea.
3 should be the number 2 QB. That
Oh,
is
you're gonna get
number 3,
Darren.
Tyrell Pigram should be the number 2 quarterback.
Darren's head's gonna explode.
No, it's not. I understand people wanting more Tyrell Pigram. I get it. But it's early. It's early.
We'll see what happens. Listen, you know what the Bombers do with the third stringer. You've seen what they did with Sean McGuire, with Dakota Prukop. You know, they have special packages, right? They've
Yep.
got the wedge package, they've got the goal line package, they've got, second and short or second and medium where they're throwing the ball. I mean, I trust me. The nice thing about Buck Pierce is he doesn't create a system and try and make the guys fit in it. He creates the system for the guys based on what they do well. And trust me, when Piggy makes this team, which we're pretty sure he will, right? What what kinds of culinary delights can Buck Pierce cook up, Darren, in that kitchen of his? I am quite excited. I'm quite excited to see what they have in store for Piggy.
Yeah, me too. They did it with Dakota Prukop. They did it
Yeah.
with Chris Streveler. They have done it with second and third string quarterbacks in years past. Um, I mean, never put creativity past the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on
No.
offense, on defense, or on special teams. That's for sure. Um, they'll pull something out of the old tickle trunk every
Oh
once
yeah.
in a while. Oh, I see. I was going to mention the 109th championship again, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, you could do it. That's
Well, no,
fine.
let's keep things on a happy note, and that means time for your happy honker in memoriam of CJOB and the late great from there. Your happy honker tonight.
My happy honker is the 24,654 fans that showed up to a preseason game on a Friday night in the summer, Darren. It's starting to get to be lake season, and to have that many people show up to a preseason game was astounding. That was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I was so excited to see that.
Yeah.
So that's my happy honker, and I get a lowercase happy honker for Willie Jefferson for hyping the crowd in a preseason game. Heck, he did it in training camp. He's always hyping the crowd. I thought that was cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great happy honkers. I like it a lot. I was just dying to use that sound effect in honor of the late great Cactus Jack Wells, who always handed out the Happy Honker Award on the radio back in the day. Um, the you know what? The happy honker. Well, I'll give it to Tyrell Pigram because he made everybody in that stadium tonight happy.
Yeah.
Everybody is talking about Tyrell Pigram. We've talked a lot about Tyrell Pigram. So for that, I will give him the Happy Honker Award. 2 very strong preseason outings. Probably locked himself into a roster spot. He's going to get a paycheck. Hey, when you're a college quarterback and you go to a foreign country and you make a little bit of electricity happen and now you got a paycheck coming, that's got to feel pretty good. So the fans are happy. Tyrell Pigram, his family, everybody in his corner, no
Yeah.
doubt they're happy as well. So that's your
Very
happy
happy.
honker award. Uh, the Warrior for Chris
Yeah.
Walby, who joins me every single week all season long. Game Day Winnipeg pregame show. We go live the day before the game. You can always find it here on Bonfire Sports and all our channels. If you need a link, BonfireSports.ca. You'll find everything you need there for podcasts and live streams and the rest. You got a Warrior for tonight? I'm trying to think. It's tough. Oh, I think I
It's
got one. I got one.
okay.
I
Go
got one.
ahead.
Okay. I don't know if he's going to make the team because he's 21 years old. He was a 5th round draft pick in the CFL draft this past year in 2023. He's probably going to go back to school because he's got 3 years of eligibility left. How do I know that?
Wow.
Well, his dad told me that today. Bumped into him in the stands at IG Field today, and that's Brett McDougall. He was wearing
Right.
wearing number 16 on
He was
defense.
noticeable tonight.
He made a great play. Like, okay, the Rough Riders eventually punched it in, but he made a great play to tackle Shea Patterson, the short yardage quarterback for the Rough Riders.
Yes.
Not a eye open, not a blow your socks off play, but a rock solid play from a Canadian rookie, late round draft pick. Good on Brett McDougall. Shout out to his dad, whose name escapes me right now, but he's just a proud dad, Mr. McDougall tonight.
Awesome.
He actually played against Mike O'Shea.
No
Did
way.
Brett McDougall's dad? Yeah, he played on defense for Windsor, and Michael Shea played on defense for Guelph at the
Right.
same time. He says, the head coach probably doesn't know me, but know who I was or remember who I was. So they didn't play head to head, but they did, on the field at the same time, but they did play against each other. So yeah, that's my Warrior tonight. Walby's Warrior to
Nice.
Brett
Will
McDougall.
he go back to school, Darren?
Yeah, I think he'll go back. He's
Yeah.
got 3 years
Okay.
left. He's 21. 21 in pro football is
Yeah, it's
like
baby.
18 in the NHL.
Yeah.
You
Big
better be
baby.
off the charts.
Did we I for Bonfire Burning Point, Darren, I just had when Piggy came in. I thought the game was pretty it was pretty much a snore fest prior to that, except for a Matt Cole return
Mhm.
or two. I thought Piggy really electrified the stadium, and that was my burning point. I'm not going to do it based on score or won the game because it just didn't matter.
Yeah, I'll forgive you for skipping over your Walby Warrior, and I'll agree with you.
Ooh,
I'll agree with you
my
though.
Walby Warrior. Oh yeah, I had a good one too. My
Hold up,
Walby
hold up,
Warrior.
hold up, hold up.
Hold on. What?
Bonfire Burning Point, no question. You are right. He came in. Tyrell Pigram was the absolute shot in the arm. Sorry for interrupting. I'm sincerely.
He sizzled the bacon, he did.
There you go.
Um,
Oh, see,
Good one, eh?
that almost went right over my head, but you nailed it.
Uh, Walby's Warrior for me was actually Mark Leggio. I thought he's a guy who all of a sudden, he was handed the reins last year, and now he's fighting tooth and nail for his job. He's much maligned. A lot of people accusing him of losing the Grey Cup. Um, and I thought he acquitted himself well. He had that one punt that was an illegal punt out of bounds, but otherwise his punts looked really, really good. He boomed a 50-yarder in the second quarter. His kickoff was the longest of even out kicked in terms of kickoffs Sergio Castillo, and he hit his point after. So I got to give the guy some love because he had a lot of pressure, and I thought he by and large came through.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Chris Joyle, Pigram for Game Ball, Happy Honker, and Warrior. Probably fair to say that because we're even giving him the Bonfire Burning Point. It's not a turning point; it's a burning point here on Bonfire Sports. No question, when he came in, the game changed. The Bombers weren't able to come away with a win. They lose 28-16 at IG Field tonight. It was still a madhouse on Matheson. You said the attendance number. What was it?
24,654.
It's pretty good. Because I know a
That's
lot of season ticket
incredible.
holders don't go to the preseason games. They'll just
Yeah.
give them to a neighbor, or they go unused. That's a nice crowd. That's a nice crowd.
Nice crowd. Did we have a wide to the right, Darren? I didn't really have much of one, except Lawler. I think he
Yeah,
missed 2 point afters.
I was just gonna say,
Ouch.
why to the right can go to Brett Lowther.
Yeah.
Jeff Hamilton of the Winnipeg Free Press. Hammy had a great tweet tonight that probably slipped past a lot of people, but trademark snarky dry wit from Hammy. He joined us on the pregame show, by the way. So if you missed that, we talked about Kenny Lawler and a lot more.
Yes.
Go check that out right now and give us a thumbs up on that video. Just go do it. That's what you need to do. But Hammy saying, going to be looking forward to Sergio Castillo and Mark Leggio going head to head during the Labor Day Classic, which, you know, I think look, if Mark Leggio is released by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I'm thinking Edmonton signs him like
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need somebody, which would be hilarious. It would almost be like a trade
Yeah, really.
for Sergio Castillo, right? If Leggio did end up there, we'll see how that shakes out. I don't think Brett Lowther is going to lose his job. If he's having a rough day at the office, it's a rough day at the office. He's a
Yeah.
good kicker. There was a time when any Blue Bombers fan would have said, "We'll take that guy,"
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about Sean Lemon before we go?
Sure, let's hit it. Let's hit up Sean Lemon.
So, released by the BC Lions, what was it? Just about a week ago. And a lot of people surprised by his release, including himself. Sean Lemon was the West Division nominee for Most Outstanding Defensive Player this past year. Was he my vote? As I've been honored to have a vote for those awards for the last number of years? No. I think there were even better players on the Calgary Stampeders last year than
Yeah.
Sean Lemon defensively. However, um, puts up sack numbers. Chris Walby always says, okay, you got 2 sacks today. What'd you do on the other 65 plays? Um, Look, I don't watch Sean Lemon every down. I'm not going to say that I'm not saying that. Could he sign with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Well, I heard today that he wants to sign with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. What does that mean, though?
Really?
What does that mean? I think you could, like, if any player in the CFL today was a free agent, wouldn't you say, oh, I'd like to sign with Winnipeg? Wouldn't you say that? Chance to win a
Sure.
cup?
Sure.
Like, so is
But
there
still, the fact that he said it, that's
is,
something.
is there truth to that uh idea that Winnipeg might be interested in him? I don't know that. All
Yeah.
I know is I heard in a casual conversation tonight that he would like to sign with Winnipeg. So we'll see. Do the Blue Bombers need him? Mm, he could be a nice rotational piece. I think Winnipeg uses a very multiple defensive front.
Yeah.
Willie Jefferson kicks into D tackle, like lines up at the
Yep.
nose, lines up right on the
Yep.
center. They push guys to the outside. Jake Thomas will play on the edge once in a while. They'll bring Shane Gauthier or Adam Bighill right to the line of scrimmage and line them up there. So would Sean Lemon be a nice rotational piece, especially being without Teodric Hansen for at least a month to
And
start the year?
especially if they're saving money on Lawler.
You're saving a little money on Lawler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, you know, we don't know how close Winnipeg is to the cap. We don't. You and I
Yeah.
talked about the cap lots on Bonfire midweek. Go check that out if you haven't yet. Um, but we'll, they could have room for him. They could have room for him. It also depends for Sean Lemon. It's like, okay, like I don't know these numbers for sure, okay? But let's just say for argument's sake, for simplicity's sake, he wants $100,000 for a contract, okay? I don't know. Maybe it's 75, maybe it's 175. I don't know. I don't know what he wants. I don't know what he can get. Let's just say 100. If he wants 100, will he wait to get 100 from another team, or would he take a chunk less to join Winnipeg? If
Yeah.
what I heard tonight was true, that he wants to join the Blue Bombers, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, and you'd think you'd find Winnipeg attractive if you're playing opposite Willie Jefferson or Jackson Jeffcoat, who's going to take the double team, and you can get some more sacks, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Did Richie Hall coach Lemon before? Maybe in Saskatchewan. He very well may have coached Sean Lemon before. That's interesting. Um, I think I might have also heard that he would like to return to Saskatchewan.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I didn't
it's
even know Lemon played for Saskatchewan.
oh yeah, like recently.
I thought I know he played for BC and Calgary, and he's played for Toronto. I know he's played for Ottawa.
Oh yeah.
Has he done the whole Kevin Glenn
Oh yeah. Oh
thing?
yeah. So
Okay.
Sean Lemon is 34 years old. He will be 35 in August. He played his rookie year in Saskatchewan in 2011, then
Oh,
Edmonton, then Calgary for 2 years, then Ottawa for, well, he played half a season, played 9 games, then Saskatchewan in 2016, 1 game before moving out of Toronto in 2016. Was that a trade? I think it might have been. Toronto for 2 years, pardon me, Toronto for 3 years, then to BC in 2018, played 13 games, back to Toronto in 2019, 4 games, then traded to BC, another 10, so played 14 games in 2019, and then Calgary in 2021 and 2022, where he played 11 games and 17 games respectively in those 2 seasons. So 135 games
wow.
in, well, 12 seasons in the CFL.
So
Uh,
the only teams he hasn't played for are Hamilton and Winnipeg. He really is. He could be a real Kevin Glenn
you're
protege
right.
there,
No, he played for Hamilton. Oh, pardon me. Is that right? Oh gosh.
or Montreal. I guess he hasn't played for Montreal either.
Right. Hamilton and Montreal. Yeah, is that right? Holy cow. That is something. But
Wow.
he had 14 sacks last year. That's his highest total since 2016. Now, he played 17 games last year and had 14 sacks. He has not played that many games since 2016, where he had 14 sacks in 16 games.
Right.
So, I mean, he had 13 sacks in 2014 with Calgary when he played the full regular season 18 games. So, he is a producer, right? Um, if you can add a 34 or 35-year-old that can probably average a sack a game, or maybe, 3/4 of a sack a game on average, as a rotational
Pretty
guy,
good.
could be a nice piece. Could be a
That's
nice
pretty
piece.
good. As
Yep.
Rod Black would call him, a sack master.
Yeah,
That guy just had some interesting turns of phrase. Let's
he,
just leave it
he
at
did.
that.
He did. And on a personal level, I am friends with Rod Black, or I'll say acquaintances. We've worked together a little bit before and shared a meal, I think maybe once. Uh, that said, I think, we're going to miss him calling CFL games.
He certainly was entertaining, and there were many Rod Black drinking games. But we'll maybe bring that up in another show. It's probably getting too late.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So on that note, final thoughts.
Final thoughts is now I can't wait for the real bullets to start flying. That's good, waiters.
He's got some shots.
Waiters, I also appreciate your YouTube page. I don't know if people know, but
Yeah.
he has a lot of good stuff on there, including some full games of bomber games.
But he's got like every Blue Bombers kick
Yeah.
return
Yeah,
touchdown
yeah.
in one YouTube video. So Waiters 27, it's an easy one to
Yeah, check him
remember.
out on YouTube.
Yep. Yep. Go check him out on YouTube.
Um,
Um,
no, I'm excited for the
yeah.
real bullets to fly. I mean, Bo Levi Mitchell comes to town, retooled Hamilton Tiger Cats team. That's a great rivalry we have. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Only a week away.
I can't believe it's a week away. Like, I
I
can't
know.
believe it, but so happy and excited to see all the fire starters in the pregame and postgame and midweek, and now a second pregame and postgame. And we'll get the second edition of Bonfire midweek going on Wednesday. Walby and I will have the pregame on Thursday, and then game day after dark, as we always do, Friday night. Be sure to join us. Following the Blue Bombers Hamilton Tiger Cats game. That's on Friday, June 9th at IG Field. It's going to be a scene at the Madhouse on Matheson with the Bumblebees, as I like to call them. But Bo Levi Mitchell in black and yellow, and the Tiger Stripes. coming to town. Man, like Bo didn't play. I don't believe Bo played in the preseason for the Ticats. So he's going to come here and play his first game in those tabby uniforms. Rivalry game.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, buddy.
Yep. And take Andrea's advice. Smash the like button, folks. Well, they said lime. Maybe that's a lemon lime pun. I don't know. But
Oh,
go do that. Go give a thumbs up right now. It's
yeah.
super easy.
Do
Just
it.
right below. Boom. Do it. Appreciate it.
Do it.
Great seeing everybody in the live chat. You guys are the best. Thanks. You are too. Jet Oil Tom. Great seeing you. Craig Smith, Phyllis, Sandy, everybody.
Even
Boy
Ryan
Bruce,
Friesen.
even you, Freezer. But yeah, great seeing everybody tonight. Chris Joyle killing things in the live chat tonight. Last but definitely not least, go check them out. If you're not going to the game at IG Field on Friday, go to Shannon's Irish Pub. Bombers game day specials before, during, and after every Blue Bombers game, home and away, every Jets game all season long. 21 beers on tap. Awesome food. If you've never been, go check it out. If you have been, you know just how cool, how eclectic, how unique Shannon's Irish Pub is under the streets. I mean that literally if you've never been under the streets of downtown Winnipeg, 175 Carlton Street. Just a saucer pass, just a piggy tea pass down the street from True North Square, ShannonsIrishPub.ca. Final thought, Zach. I'll leave it to you.
Like I said, I just can't wait for the regular season to start, buddy. And I want to boo, boo, boo.
Boo Bo.
Rain down some boos on Bo Levi Mitchell, who I said last year in season 1 that he was done. I said he was done, and you argued with me quite vociferously. And we'll see who's right.
We'll see.
We'll see who's right next Friday night.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one. Oh, Sandy. Thank you so much. I don't know if you can
Sandy, you
see
rule.
Sandy right behind me here. Do you see?
Yeah,
Do you
got my
see?
mug
What's this?
right here.
Oh, there's yours.
She
There's
made us a
mine.
mug, folks. Make us a present.
See,
What about the rest of you?
I'm treating
No
mine like a
goodness.
trophy. I want to keep it immaculate right
Yeah,
there.
you would.
Right there.
I'm
Well, I'm
using it.
still because I use things until they're like pretty much toast. I'm still rocking
Yeah,
this 108th Grey Cup. Whoop,
sweet.
Hamilton mug.
That's one you can talk about. That's fine, but not the 109th, okay?
Talked about it too much tonight, didn't I?
So
I
we'll
might
see
have.
everybody Wednesday at 7:30, and then we got
Yes.
you and Walby for game day, pregame, and then we'll do after dark after the first game of the season, baby.
Yep. Hit that like button, subscribe. Do this more than anything. Go tell your friends. Go tell your boss. Go tell your work wife. Go tell your cousin. Go tell your mom. Go tell your dad. Go tell whoever you know in your life that loves the Winnipeg Blue Bombers or even just, kind of likes knowing what's going on with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Send them to BonfireSports.ca. Get them to subscribe. Get them to watch. Get them on their podcast app and search Bonfire Sports Winnipeg. Okay. You're going to find us. You know the Classic B. It's right there for you. WPG next to it. I put that there for a reason. Bonfire is here for you, Winnipeg. We're here for you, Southern Manitoba. So go support and help us keep able to provide you with this free content on your favorite football team. We got some Jets hockey coming in 2023, and well, really, I mean, you got the Schnitz. What more could you ask for?
What else do you need, really?
What else do you need, really? Really? Okay, everybody, have a great night, and
Sayonara.
we'll see you next time.